This is just a quick tutorial on how I set up my Brother CE1100 PRW Project Runway Limited Edition sewing machine for wig making. So with a sewing machine, you just want to make sure that it adjusts. The length and width can adjust because you need to use different stitches depending on the cap that you're using. So if you use the dome, span, or mesh caps, you want a machine that's going to adjust the length and the width. If you're only sewing on the ventilated caps with the plastic, you only need a straight stitch. Just about any sewing machine will be able to, you'll be able to use just about any sewing machine for that. So let's just get into how I set up my machine. The first thing, I'm using a thread holder. And the reason I'm using a thread holder is because I'm using a large spool of thread. And this isn't going to fit right here. So when using that, I use my thread holder. And the brand of thread that I'm using is just the Sherlock 100% polyester thread. I bought this from Walmart for a little under $3. You just want to ensure that you're using 100% polyester thread, not cotton or nylon. So the next step is to thread your bobbin. Usually the machine comes with the bobbin in here. If so, just remove it. It may have, do not use the thread that comes on the machine. So here's my bobbin. The next step is to thread my bobbin. Take your thread and hook it on the machine. Then thread it on the knob. Notice a click. You just want to make sure that there's enough tension right here. After you have done that, I cut it and insert it through the top hole of the bobbin. Notice that I did not go underneath, just through the top. Place your bobbin here, push it over. I cut off the excess thread and hold it tightly. The next step is to make it spin by pressing on the pedal. Then I let it go. The machine will stop itself. And obviously you have to make sure that your machine is plugged up, powered on. Once the bobbin has stopped, cut this off, push it over, remove it, and now you're ready to put the bobbin back in the bobbin holder. Remove the lid, and you just place it in and follow the instructions by taking it around here. So it'll cut itself off. Let's do that again. Here's my bobbin threaded. I place it here and I follow the arrow and let it cut off. Place your top back. The next step is to thread your needle. This knob controls your needle. Notice it's moving down and up. You want to ensure that this silver part is up. Remove your thread from the knob, but keep it on the hook back here. Then follow the instructions. You're going to go down, up, over, and down. Down. And your thread hooked on this silver part. Let's do that again. Very simple. Under, down, up, down. Once you have done that, I cut my thread to give me a nice blunt cut on the thread. Put my footer down, and I just insert it through the needle hole. I'm gonna push my needle up some Once you have inserted it through the needle hole, pull your thread out. There should be enough tension. And by enough tension, I mean you don't want the thread to just be loose. Hold it tight. Lift your footer up. This is your footer. I'm using a J footer. It's the footer that actually came on the machine, but this is the J footer. Once I have done that, I'm going to turn this knob towards me one complete time until the needle goes down and comes back up. So what I have done by doing that is, notice that I was holding this thread the entire time. I've exposed the bobbin thread. So I'm going to check to see. And here's the thread. You have to pull it out. Sometimes you have to get a tweezer to pull this out. Do not skip this step. This is so important. I cannot tell you how many students I've taught and their machine, it wasn't set up correctly. You must start with 2 threads out every single time before you get ready to sew a track on your cap. Technically, you're supposed to take this thread and put it through the footer right here. I do, and sometimes I don't. But I always start with 2 threads out. That will prevent the jamming of the machine as well. Once you have done that, now I just set my machine. I'm using number 4, which is a zigzag pattern. And I'm using number 4 because I'm getting ready to sew on a dome cap. And by a dome cap, I mean, this is a dome span. This is the brand I use. Whether I'm sewing on a span or a mesh, I use these settings. If I'm using 613 hair, blonde hair, I only use blonde thread, nude cap. Everything I do will be the same color. If you don't have access to it, go to morejanelle.com, click on shop. I have them there. So the next step is to set your machine. This number should be a 0. This number should be a 4. This 04 matches 04, my zigzag pattern that I'm using. I'm going to put my top number at a 2.5 and my bottom number at a 7. I use these same settings whether I'm using a double track or single tracks. Now you're ready to begin sewing. So it's so important that you do not skip steps when you're setting up your machine. Every single time you want to ensure that it's set up correctly. And that's all. So I know that you already couldn't see what I was doing right here. Let's review some of these parts. So this drops my footer down, this lifts my footer up. You can also push your footer up more when needed. Once you start dealing with a lot of hair, sometimes you need to push your footer up more. This self-threads itself with the needle. I don't use it. It's more work than what it's worth. Let me zoom in on this part for you so that you can see what I was saying about actually threading my bobbin. So I put my bobbin in and I just followed these instructions by taking it around and cutting it off. Some machines have a little slit right here, and if so, you want to take it through, but not this brand. Always put your cover back. So my footer is marked off because this is where I keep my track, so it's just a little visual for me. Settings 04, 2.5, 7.0. This means a J footer. That's what we're using, a J footer. And again, I'm using the 04 stitching. For those of y'all that really couldn't see the hook, this is the hook that I'm talking about. Notice that it's hooked here. You want to make sure that it's hooked. Make sure your thread is properly threaded. It's so important that you do not skip these steps. I hope that helps. If you need more information or you would like to take my class on how to make a machine-made wig, visit me at morejanelle.com or on Instagram, Amour, AMOUR _ Janelle.